What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. This is Web Dev Journey, and in today's video we're going to be talking about security for Node.js. But before I do talk about that, guys, I do want to just say I'm not going to make a series on security, guys. Yeah, I'm not going to make a series. The reason why I'm not making a security or a series on security is because, well, guys, security is always evolving, so you're going to need an up-to-date approach for security, meaning that you need to find a resource that's going to keep you up to date on these latest security threats or risks and how to handle them, right? You're not going to be waiting on me to make a video on the newest one, because I'm gonna just say this up front. I'm pretty sure it's pretty obvious. I'm not a security expert, nor do I claim to be one. So yeah, I'm just going to give you a basic concept or overview of security and like what you should be doing. And by the way, it's not me that's giving you this, it's OWASP. All right, so if you don't know what OWASP is a phenomenal project, guys. You should absolutely visit their page and read about them, right? Basically what OWASP is Open Web Application Security Project. Basically what they try to do is try to keep up with the newest security risks on the internet, on the web, right? And try to give you some kind of way to prevent that, right? And like I said, they have a lot of things, a lot of features, and a lot of blogs and writings about security. So you should definitely check these guys out. They do a lot of security. Obviously, that's their whole name, right? And by the way, if you check out projects OWASP top 10, these are the top 10 security risks that you need to be careful of, right? Just wanting to let you guys know. By the way, guys, if you do not know what any of these are, they do give an explanation right here. And if you still don't know what it is, they even give examples right here, man. Example. If you still don't know what it is, I found a YouTube channel that explains most of the top 10 security risks. And this guy explains it extremely well. Not gonna lie, I like the way I like the way he explains it. I was looking at this CSRF, or one-click attack, as most people know it as. Or I think most people know it as CSRF, I'm not too sure. Anyways, this CSRF attack, he explains what it is and how it could affect you, right? And the reason I needed to see how good of a video it was, and it was phenomenal, in my opinion. It was great. I like the way he presented it. I just like the color schema, by the way, of his whole channel. It's very awesome. By the way, anyways, I'm gonna have this in the description down below, so that way you could check it out. So that way you could check out his videos on like XSS attacks, insecure deserialization, and CSRF, and a lot of others. Also, I will have this in the description down below, so that way you could check out OWASP. And by the way, speaking of OWASP, they do give us a cheat sheet for Node.js. Check this out, Node.js security cheat sheet. And honestly, they give you more. They would have given you more insight than what if I made a series on them, or on the security risk series, right? Or security, right? They give you more and more insight. So I'm gonna leave this down in the description as well. And guys, make sure if you don't watch the videos or check out OWASP, check out the cheat sheet OWASP gives you for Node.js, right? Check this out, man. It's literally like a 30-minute read. And it gives you all the basic security things that you could do on your Node applications. And we're going to go over it on this video. But if you do not want to hear me talk so much, you could just exit out the video, because honestly, I'm just going to go over this, and you could just read this on your own if you really wanted to, or you could stick around, because I'm going to go through this with you guys. All right. So let's just get started, so that way this video won't take so long. So the first thing they say is to basically stop using callbacks, all right, and start using promise chains, or async await, all right. And like I said, guys, you could read why they're saying these things if you should go to this site. But I'm not going to tell you why, or on most things I'm not going to tell you why, because it's common sense. On other things I will explain why, but it's common sense why you shouldn't be using callbacks, all right. Let's go back. Let's go. Keep on going. Set request size limits. This is one thing I have not talked about, and basically what it's saying that where is it at? Right here. Attackers can send requests with large request bodies so that they can exhaust server memory or fill disk space, which is something you do not want, right? So the way you could prevent that is by, when you use the URL encoder or JSON, you could use a limit property. They have an option for limit, and you could set the limit on whatever you want, correct? Now, obviously, if you're doing microservices or any kind of service, like if you're doing an image service or a video service, yeah, that limit is going to be more up. But for other things like text or form requests or like password, username, that limit should be very, very small. You don't want that limit to be over exceeding a certain type of size. Obviously, to stop memory, for them over exhausting your memory. Going on, do not block the event loop. This is common sense, guys. We're using Node.js. It's single threaded. Do not block it. I can't get any clearer than that, or they can't get any clearer than that, right? Perform input validation. This is pretty much common sense as well. They do give you npm modules. Oh yeah, and by the way, they do give you npm modules requests or recommendations, and the one that we know of is Validator. We've used this before. It's a great one, so use it on your emails, your phone numbers, your whatever you want. Just use it. It's very, very good. Moving on, perform output escaping. Yes, this is one to prevent XSS attacks or cross script site scripting. Basically, this is a module that they recommend, or obviously a module that they say that you should. It's very popular. I even use this one. That's why I knew about it. But anyways, what this does is basically if they try to send in foo and bar, they give you the ASCII character of and, or the ampersand, into the ASCII character. That's what it turns into, right? So if they try to do cross-site scripting, where is it at? Right here. Cross-site scripting, basically, if they try to inject a script tag, they can't, because those carets or those less than and greater than are going to turn into the ASCII characters, which is a good thing. Or even a paragraph, right? If they try to insert a paragraph tag into your inputs, they won't be able to, because those, like I said, that ASCII characters or the less than and greater than, it's going to give you that instead. So yeah, try to use this modules. And by the way, all these modules that we're going to be talking about is going to be down in the descriptions. And these are modules that I use myself. Some of them I don't use, and I'll tell you which ones, but most of these I do use. So perform application activity logging. This is something that I've done, or actually on my server boilerplate, we use Bunyan. And if you do not know what Bunyan is, or Winston, it's just a logging module. That's it. Logger. It's a logger. That's it. That's all it does, right? But this is just encourages good practice. And it's also useful for security concerns, since it can be used during incident response, which is true. So get familiar with logging or with Winston or Bunyan. They do have a logging sheet right here. I don't even know what that is. Let's see what it is. Okay, so basically it's going to tell you when you should use it, where you should use it, or what data you should be recorded. Yeah, you see that? Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm gonna actually look at that later on in this video. When I'm done with this video, I'm gonna take a look at that. Next is monitor the event loop. Yes, this is to prevent DOS attacks. Basically, yeah, it says right here. So basically what it's saying that is if it's under heavy network traffic, if there's tons and tons of users, your server is going to stop being responsive, right? So one way to prevent that from your server to stop being responsive is if there's too much traffic and you're actually taking notice on like how much traffic there is, you could use a module called TooBusyJS right here. And basically what this does is that, let me see, where is it at? There you go, latency. It measures latency. So it's basically saying that if there's too much latency between requests, it's going to just send out an error saying that 503 server too busy. Is going to send that out. See that right there? So that way, at least it responds to something, right? So that way your server could still be responsive. If you didn't send this out and you just left it as is, this could actually shut down your server. It could crash it if you're not sending responses, right? Too many responses or requests to a server and you're not giving out any response, it's going to crash your server at some point. So it's best to at least send some kind of response, even though it might be a crappy response saying that server too busy or something like that. Maybe something that the user doesn't want, but at least they could do other things on your server or on your website or whatever else, right? Basically not shutting down your server. But yeah, you could use something called the TooBusyJS, where it measures latency. You could tell it a toobusy.interval 250, whatever. You could read this, right? It's actually very good. I didn't know about this at all, but this is very good. Brute forcing, common. You already know this. So one way to prevent this is using a module which I do use called Limiter. So with limiter, it actually explains it better over here. With limiter, you're basically saying that, hey, if someone's trying to brute force the login page, you could say they could only do 5 requests within the 500 milliseconds range. So if there's more than five requests within 500 milliseconds, it's going to give them an error, which is it's not going to prevent brute forcing at some point, but it will slow them down a lot, right? To the point where they might just, stop. Limiter does give you, I don't think it shows you here, but limiter does give you an option where you could actually tell it, hey, if there's a request being made every 5 or every 2 seconds, you could actually prolong the next request that they make 3 seconds, and then prolong the next request 4 seconds, right? So every request that guy makes takes longer and longer and longer, to a point where it goes to like 20 seconds or 30 minutes or whatever, which is going to take forever for that brute force to work, right? So they might just quit on that. Another one is the CAPTCHA. Yeah, they use SVG CAPTCHA. You could use SVG CAPTCHA or Google CAPTCHA, whatever CAPTCHA, but this is a good way to stop that as well. So make sure to use that. Cross-site request forgery, CSRF or one-click attack. I don't know how you guys understand it as, but I know it as CSRF and sometimes one-click attacks. This is a very old way, but anyways, if you don't know what that is, like I said, this one actually does provide it right here, cross-site request forgery. But yeah, they give you a module. They recommend this module CSRF, which is very, very easy to use. I recommend it, obviously, because OWASP recommends it. But basically, it just stops from anyone making a certain request pretending to be you. Let me see if they explain it better. Aims to perform, so CSRF aims to perform authorized actions on behalf of an authenticated user while the user is unaware of this action. So if I'm a hacker and I have your credentials, I could go to your bank account. If, let's say, I want to transfer your credentials or transfer some money from my bank to your bank, from your bank to my bank, all I have to do is, send you some kind of email or a phishing email or something like that, right? So once you click on that, the image or that email or the link that I sent you, once you click on that link is not actually the link that I sent you. Maybe I sent you a YouTube video, right? And you click on the YouTube video, but instead of being in the YouTube video, I actually make the source of that link be the you confirming that bank amount transaction. So once you click that link, you're actually confirming the bank account transaction, and it's going to send me the money, and then you're pretty much screwed. Anyways, that probably didn't clear it up. They do a very better job at explaining it, so check them out, okay? But yeah, CSRF is very old, but they still use it nowadays. They still use it. Unnecessary routes, obviously remove unnecessary routes. You don't want to do that kind of stuff. So prevent HTTP parameter pollution. Yeah, this is a big one. This could crash your server if you don't handle it well. Basically, they're telling you to use the HTTP module. But basically what this is, let me actually show you. They actually explain it better. So basically, if you get this right here, the first name equals John and first name equals John, when you do rec.query.firstname, you actually get an array back for first name, because there's 2 first names here, right? So if you do get this, it's an array. You're not expecting an array in your code. So, and that's why I'm saying it might crash, or you might have an unexpected error that's going to crash your server or something like that, right? But what this module does is that it reads that, it says that it's an error, or it says that, okay, it's an array. So what I'm going to do is give first name the very last value that it gave. So right here, we have first name equals John and first name equals Alice. So when we do rec query.firstname, we're going to get Alice. It's going to assign first name the very last value of Alice, whatever the last value for first name was, which was Alice, right? And then it's going to give you another property, query polluted, which is going to give you the array of the first name. If there's more than that, you could actually see that right here. But now when you do rec.query.firstname, sorry about that, when you do rec.query.firstname, you're going to get Alice instead of an array, which is good. It's not going to crash, right? All right, next stop is only return what is necessary. We've talked about this when we were doing the Twitter series. You should only return what you need to return. Don't return the whole object that what you get from the database. That's a big no-no. If they're only requesting, images of the database, just return the images, nothing else, right? That's pretty self-explanatory. So this is a new one that I did not know about. Well, I did know about it, but I never do it. Is use object property descriptors. Basically define an object, right? So right here, if it's writable, you can make it true or false, where property value cannot be changed if it's false. Enumerable, if false, property cannot be used for loops. Configurable, if false, property cannot be deleted, right? These are some three hidden attributes that you could actually use on these objects to define an object if you really wanted to. But I don't really use these. OWASP is telling me I should be using them, so I might actually start using them. I don't know, right? Then, by the way, this is stuff like when you do a form submission, right? When you do a form submission, if you're sending it as a JSON, this right here, you could expect that object of that form to be this, or define it as such, right? But anyway, that's just one example. Yeah, use access control list. What this is basically saying is that if you have an API that you're trying to give out with tokens and all that, only give that specific user, if he signs up for a token and he's trying to grab, let's say, a list of names, only give him that action. Do not give him the privilege to do other things. Only give him the privilege to grab names, right? For an API that's huge. It's like Google, right? When you're trying to do Google APIs or for something for Google's, you notice that they have APIs for Maps, Google Maps. They have APIs for Google Hangouts and all that stuff, right? They're only granting you an access for Google Maps because that's the API that you asked for, and that's what you're trying to do, Maps, right? If you ask for a API for email, they're only going to give you access for Google emails. That API cannot do anything related to Maps and anything else. It's just for emails. That's what it's basically saying here. So this is a very good one to actually look up or start customizing. Moving on, handle uncaught exceptions. Yeah, that's a big one. Obviously, any uncaught exception you should be handling. But basically, it's saying that where is it at? It should, behavior. So the typical behavior for uncaught exceptions for Node.js is to print current stack trace and then terminate the thread, right? But you could actually customize this behavior by doing a process.uncaught exception and then cleaning that up a bit and then exiting that out, right? This is going to help you out to determine what the real problem was if you really want to fix it, before shutting it down and then restarting that process if you really wanted to, right? Also, if you listen to errors when using event emitter, by the way, this is using the event emitter. An event emitter object. When you try to listen to the uncaught exception, it's going to the event emitter. And when you listen to errors in the event emitter, you could do some stuff on that as well. Handle errors and asynchronous calls. This is something that we've always done, I think. Cookies. We haven't talked about too much about cookies because honestly, we don't really mess around with cookies as much, right? When we do, it's always handled by the module that we're using, right? But if you're doing manual cookies for your own sake, you just want to get known or you just want to do cookies manually, then, setting up some flags would be a good idea. So flags like HTTP only, secure, same site flags. These are very important for cookie sessions. And it tells you right here, HTTP only flag prevents the cookie from being accessed by client-side JavaScript. Secure flags lets the cookie be sent only in the communication is over HTTPS. And then same site flag can prevent cookies from being sent in cross-site requests, which helps protect against the CSRF attacks, right? So these are some things that you might want to consider if you're trying to do cookies manually. Headers, man, dude, headers. I do not talk about headers as much at all. But one thing that you could do to use to do that is, do I have it? No. Is actually use Helmet. We've used Helmet before. Helmet is just it gives you the basic headers that you should be using. Is it here somewhere? I can't see it. Let me actually look that up. Headers. Or helmet, not helmet. There it is, helmet. Yeah, here it is. So this is a basic, Look right here. Helmet helps you secure your Express apps by setting various HTTP headers. It's not the silver bullet, but it can help. Like I said, it's just basic headers that you should be using on all your applications, and Helmet helps you do that. So if you just do app use Helmet, that's basically giving this, right? App is giving you the equivalent of this, right? It sets up a lot of headers for you guys, honestly, and you could customize it if you really wanted to. But you should definitely be using Helmet for your application, which would really be good. And this even uses helmets, but it's using specific types of helmets. But if you just do helmet parentheses, it'll use all of these for you guys, so you don't even have to do that. It's going down. Still using helmet. Just use helmet. That's it. Period. Just use helmet. Now there are some functions, if you do not know, that you should not be using. I did not know this, but anyways, they give you a full list of functions that you probably shouldn't be using. Right here, all these functions that you shouldn't be using. Right. This is one thing about like why people like TypeScript so much. It's because of this kind of functions. Because the functions eval turns everything into like a string. It turns it into a string, which is, you know, if you don't have a TypeScript for that, it's going to crash or something, or give you some type of error because you're using string. So this is why people like TypeScript, so that way they can use things like this, but only if it's brought back. If you're trying to do something and it's brought back as that specific data type. Regex, they say that stay away from that because it could do a RDOS, basically a regular expression denial of service. Yeah, this is somewhat true. If you have a complex regex, yeah, it's going to, you're giving the hacker a way to DDoS your server. Oh, here it is. That exploits the fact that most regular expression implementations may reach extreme situations that cause them to work very slowly. Right, so you're just sending a lot of information, a lot of requests to the server with this regex. So if there's a small regex, I would say you could use it, right? You could use a small, I guess, yeah, I don't know how to say that, right? A small regex? It's not a complex. It's a simple regex that can only do one thing, right? Like it's checking for css.css or .cass, right? Or css.css, right? Something like that. Something very simple. Oh, and they actually have I didn't even know they had a module for that. Do they? What is that? Let's check this out a bit. What is this? Oh, it's a tool that could scan your projects for vulnerable regexes. That's pretty cool. So that's another one. Should I put this in my description? I don't know. That's a lot of things. I probably will. Yeah, I should. Run linters, security linters. Yeah, you should definitely be doing that. ESLint. I use ESLint a lot. I should probably do a video on ESLint. That would help you guys out so much. Yeah. So I'll make a video on ESLint. That will be really, really good for this type of thing. Use strict mode. Yes, you start doing this. If you don't know what strict mode is, basically, does it tell you? They probably do it way better. So yeah, so if you use strict mode, with this mode, errors that were silently previously are thrown. So right here, before ES5 was even out, right, you could actually do this, and this would actually run. Believe it or not, this would run with JavaScript, right? But now it was not going to run. If this is not defined beforehand, it will not run at all, which is something that you should keep notice of, right? But honestly, modern browsers will throw out an error anyways if you don't have this. So this is, well, I would still use it. I sometimes don't and sometimes do use it. But if you're just trying to like be all focused and like, just no room for errors, then use strict mode. It won't hurt. But like I said, all modern browsers do this automatically. So if you don't have a variable defined, it's going to throw out an error anyways. And that's the end of that, guys. So like I said, give this a read through. It's not that much, guys. Like I said, it's probably a 30 minute read. It's very good information on security. I hope you actually do read this, guys. And yes, I will be making a video on the ESLint, so look out for that, because that's going to be my next video, because you need to know ESLint. That's something that I do not talk about, nor do I ever incorporate in the projects that we've done, because a lot of people don't know what ESLint is, or don't know how to I'm sorry, the phone, sorry, my phone rang. Anyways, or they don't know how to use it, right? Use ESLint, properly use it. So there is going to be a video on that. So make sure to, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification, and like this video, and comment down below if you got anything from this. I won't blame you if you didn't, because I only read through all these things, right? If you want me to do a more video on like certain things, on certain attacks, I could absolutely do that. But like I said, this YouTube video, or this YouTube channel, does a lot of the top 10, and it shows you a lot of the good stuff. So it's really, really good. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and I hope you got something out of it. I think those last two are the same thing. But anyways, thank you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.